What's up, everybody? We're S.A.D After Dark out of Brooklyn, New York. I'm Dan Berg.
I'm Sifa Graffiti.
Big shout out to everyone on the Patreon. We recently hit 50 patrons, and it's crazy, and we appreciate all of you for helping us to continue doing what we do. So we wanted to have a Q&A session with the patrons. You guys asked us some questions. We're going to answer them, and here we go. So the first question is from our patron, George Haynes, and he wants to know, did any of the music your parents listened to make it to your all-time favorites when you listen to music now?
Kind of. My mom listened to a lot of Motown, so of course I did. And she's from South America, so she's got a Caribbean culture. So I mean, that doesn't influence my music, but I definitely like some of her favorites, and that translated. I love Caribbean music, and yeah, that's about it. She liked the Beatles. I'm not a huge Beatles fan. I'm more of a Stones person. No offense. I know they're great songwriters, but she loved the Beatles. I'm more Stones.
I got two words to answer this question. Pink, Floyd. My dad's a huge Floyd fan. Like, he's always Pink Floyd, everything, this, that. He's one of those people that, we never know what to get him for, like, his birthdays or, like, Father's Day or whatever. And so we always end up either getting something Pink Floyd or Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Simple guy.
That's pretty much it. Actually, he took me to my first concert, which was Roger Waters. So I've always liked Pink Floyd, like pretty much ever since then. And I still listen to them all the time. So, yeah. And like some other stuff, but that's got to be the main one for sure.
Right, yeah,
like,
I feel that.
Like, who doesn't like Pink Floyd?
Yes,
come on.
True.
Our next question was from our patron, Adam Ronditsky. And he wants to know... Okay, so he said most patrons are asking you to react to artists from like the 60s to the 80s. So what are some current artists that we want you guys to know? That's a good question. Mm-hmm. What's the first thing that you thought of?
I love the Yes. So I'd be like listening to them from their first album to now, because they kind of change up as their album progression goes. But yeah, the Yes are cool.
Do you have a few? Should we switch off?
Yeah, let's switch off.
Okay. For me, if you watch like any videos where we talk about our influences and shit, this shouldn't be surprised, but you should listen to Kid Cudi, because he's the best. You should listen to the first album that looks like this, which I said in the last Q&A video, but I still mean it, and you should still listen to it if you haven't already, and you let me know what you think about it.
Current artists now, there's artists that are still making music that you guys probably know about, but there's a lot of female singers that I really like. I really like Broadcast. I really like Bjork. I like PJ Harvey. I like Cat Power too. So I know they'll always be making music. So if you haven't checked those ladies out, definitely check them out. And Mary J. Blige is always making music, and I love her.
Yeah. We've definitely talked about this before, but also Tame Impala. They're the best. They're one of the best concerts I've ever seen. They have a really dope, trippy, poppy style that's like really cool. And I've heard other people that like kind of are in a similar vein, but it's never as cool. It's just not. So so definitely check out Tame Impala as well.
I can't think of anybody else. The radio comes on and we pick songs that we like, and there's certain artists, but like, some artists that are out now, I'll listen to like one or two songs from them, but I can't be like, oh, check this out, it's my bona fide artist. I know they have bona fide great songs.
Yeah.
But like, you've probably all heard them too. I mean, they're on top 40. Like, yeah. R&B and pop.
True. The last one I would probably say is The Strokes, but they're not really even like new. I mean, I guess in the context of this question, anything after the 80s is really what we're talking about. And The Strokes came out in like the late 90s. So I guess that fits. But their last album was really good. That just came out like a year ago. Check it out. Listen to The Strokes. Our patron Tim Cardona, shout out to you, Tim. He wants to know, what kind of music were you guys brought up on / what are your musical backgrounds?
Man, okay. So, like Caribbean music, Motown, R&B, light rock, not really heavy rock. Like more, more what you hear on like classic rock radio now. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's not the heaviest stuff on classic rock radio. Right. So more like that coming up, like sounds of the 70s and 80s, all sounds of the 70s and 80s, really, like I was pretty much brought up on that. Whatever was on pop radio too, like we just had the radio on. My father was a musician, so we loved music. And my mom wasn't necessarily buying CDs, maybe Prince, maybe Lionel Richie.
Shout out to Prince.
We love those artists too. But, yeah, I was into like anything that came out and anything that was on the radio. Rap, rock, and R&B. All 3 R's.
I really didn't really listen to the radio that much growing up. I just downloaded shit illegally a lot. And it was all either rap or punk rock. That was pretty much it. When I was a kid. Like, when I got older, I started listening to more things.
Yeah, teenage years, I definitely branched out. I mean, that was like the MTV generation, at least for me. Like, it was getting more played out a lot. Yeah. But in like the late 90s, when you were like a kid, you were really impressionable. Like, Guns N' Roses, Nirvana, like Blind Melon, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Anything.
G-Funk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anything that was on at that time, of course, I listened to. Aerosmith. Man, it's just so many people, but yeah.
Nah, I like to think that I was too cool to listen to that shit. Like, I hated Green Day when I was a kid. I was like, how could you be pop punk? Like, pop is the opposite of punk. This is bullshit. Fuck you. And I like Green Day would come on in the car and I would just turn it off.
That's hilarious. And
now,
I love the Dookie album, the first one. I really liked it. But now I don't like Green Day, like at all.
Like their new stuff.
Yeah. As soon as Billy Joel started painting his nails and doing eyeliner, I was like, this is crazy. I was like, he should have done that 15 years before. Anyway.
Yeah. No, I just thought I was too underground for that shit. I used to listen to like fucking like Minor Threat and Black Flag when I was like 12.
I love Black Flag. And I love Tool a lot. And we like 9 Inch Nails. Like we like
Tool is crazy.
Yeah, when Headbangers Ball, like we liked some of the songs for those, but like I couldn't blast those in my room like when I was growing up. My mom would have had a fit.
She's like, what is this? But I do want to say, like, because I was all into punk rock growing up, and something that I took from that we use today is just like the whole DIY thing. I'm just like, you don't need anybody else to do your shit.
Yeah.
Just go do it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And like, I was in punk bands before like we met up and we started a band, and like that was always what it was, and now we're still doing that.
Yeah.
But I think probably at a higher level than I was doing before, but that's a whole different story. Our patron Tim Pindar, he wants to know, in what ways do the songs you react to influence the music that you make as Sight After Dark? It's a great question.
Well, we haven't reacted to these songs. We talked about them in this video that we do about like, songs we love from bands we don't, or songs we don't like from bands we love, or something like that. But one of our songs, I can't remember which one, we were trying to figure out how long to do the fade out. And I was like, well, how long does the back in black fade out last?
Oh, yeah.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. How long does that last? So we had our fade out last that long. And for one of our songs, Timeline, for the drums, I was like, well, I just want to do drums kind of like Sunday Morning by No Doubt. So it's not the exact song or melody or style, but we'll probably pick a format or something. I don't know if anything else is, I don't know. Do you know if anything?
I got a few things. Yeah. I got 2 things really. Steely Dan and Frank Zappa, right? Because Steely Dan, it's interesting because obviously the music is great, but it's like kind of operating on a level that I can't really comprehend musically. I don't know like jazz chords and shit. Like I don't really know what they're doing with that, but I just know it sounds great. But what I picked up, and I've said this in a lot of our Steely Dan reactions, is how like the flow of his vocals is just never what you think it's gonna be. And it never lands on the beat where you think it's gonna be. Uh-huh. And like ever since then, like when I'm writing stuff, I think like, okay, what does it sound like it's gonna be? And then what should I make it?
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Check you out, Dan.
But it's interesting because I never thought about that before, like just little slight differences in like phrasing and stuff. Mm-hmm. But after listening to Steely Dan, you know who I realized also does that?
Who?
I'm gonna throw 3 words at you, and I'm gonna see if you can guess it. Hoboken, New Jersey.
Frank Sinatra?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like he'll just do little things like,
yes, he does.
Love, do you. Like nobody does that.
Right,
you know what I mean? They just be like, I love you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he does that too. I never noticed that until I noticed it in Steely Dan for some reason.
Interesting.
And then Zappa, so it's funny because like, I feel like if we weren't musicians and we were listening to Zappa and like doing the reactions to like the live guitar solos and stuff, I feel like it would make me want to learn guitar. But being that I've played guitar since I was 11, watching Zappa now makes me want to unlearn guitar.
Yeah, I didn't even, I feel like that with Rory. Like, I want to, like, just, like, kind of throw it at the wall and just not think about it anymore.
Yeah.
Just let my fingers do the walking.
Yeah, exactly. Like, seeing, like, some of Frank's stuff that he did, it makes me, like, feel like I was like, oh, man, like, I was playing in a box.
I feel you. Yes,
right?
yes.
And I'm like, I know, like, I figured out what notes sound good together, but I should go for some ones that I'm not so sure about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And kind of break out of that a little bit.
That's super.
And that's because of Frank, because he's wild, but you guys already knew that. All right, so our last question is from our patron, Robert, and he wants to know, is your album available on CD? The quick answer is no. The long answer is that it's not really cost effective because not a lot of people have asked us for it, and it, as opposed to like putting something on a streaming site, like it costs money to make the CDs and the packaging and all that stuff. So like we're considering at some point making like USB drives with the album on it that we could like give to somebody that really wanted it so they could have like a physical version. So that's still something that I guess we're kind of like playing around with. Like if any of y'all would be interested in like a USB drive with the album, then I guess like send us a message and we can figure it out. But as far as CDs, that's probably not gonna happen. I mean, I couldn't even play a CD right now if I wanted. Like I don't even have a CD player. I couldn't burn one if I wanted to. Like I don't even know what we would do, honestly. We live in the future, people. I'm sorry.
That's rude.
No. I'm saying like this is the future.
Oh.
Like this. I'm about to go on a rant. Sorry. I went to a Mets game. I told you about this, right?
Yeah.
I went to a Mets game, right? And I had a bag, and they told me I couldn't bring it in. So they were like, "Oh, you got to go check it in at the like the luggage check-in." So I go to check it in. They're like, "It's $10." And I'm like, "Oh, cool." So I do like the Wayne's World joke. I'm like, "Oh wait." I did like the Wayne's World joke. I'm like, "Oh, $10, cool. Do you accept cash?" And the guy's like, "No." And I'm like, "Wait, for real?" He's like, "Yeah, we don't do that anymore. No, the stadium doesn't take cash either." And I'm just like, "What the fuck?" Like, we really live in the future.
Yeah.
And that's what I meant by that. I didn't mean we live in the future and other people aren't. I just mean this is the future.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's kind of wild.
Yeah, our MacBooks don't even have CD drives anymore. Like, you can't even, we can't burn a CD.
Exactly. So anyway, if you want a USB of the album, hit us up and we'll make something happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was it for this Q&A session. We'll definitely be doing more as, the channel continues to grow. Because we want you guys to like know who we are and stuff. Like you guys are supporting us and it means a lot to us. We want this to be like a two-way street, So thanks for watching. Go listen to the album, hit us up for USBs, I guess. And we'll see you around.